I'm sure someone will call me elitist for this one, but it's something that's been on my mind. While White Mage is a certified Final Fantasy staple, having been carried over into the Bravely Default series, and has been the basic healing class for as long as I can recall, I don't want White Mage in the next game. At least, I don't want it to be the starting healer class. And today, I just want to rant about why I feel this way. You don't have to agree, but I would like to hear your thoughts either way in the comments below after the video. Please and thank you. So let's start this off by making something clear. I'm not advocating for White Mage to be nerfed or anything. My problem isn't that White Mage is too strong, it's that it's too strong for the place it is obtained. That and having it be the base healer class goes against team experimentation. Those are the two big issues I have with the class, so I want to go over a brief history of sustain in the Bravely series, explore these 2 points in more detail, and then offer my suggestion on what to do. First, let's look at the types of jobs that I would consider to be the main healer jobs, the classes that are meant to specifically keep the team alive and support them on the side. In BD1, we get White Mage after our very first boss fight, which most people will probably use throughout the entirety of the game. It's not until Chapter 2 that we get another option in the form of Red Mage, a jack-of-all-trades situation where you also get access to offensive magic with your healing magic, but cannot hit the peaks of either White or Black Mage. Then in the next chapter, we get access to Solvemaker, a different type of healer focused on consumable crafting, and then finally in Chapter 4, we have Spirit Master provide an advanced healer class. I'm going to exclude Vampire and Catmancer from these discussions, even though technically you could spam White Wind like crazy with these Blue Mage equivalents, but I'm excluding them because they're kind of versatile in all areas and not made to be the main healer. But they are an option if you want to go for them. Now, while I have no problem with Solvemaker at all and think it can do its job all on its own, Red Mage... Look, I've done the Red Mage main healer playthrough, it fucking blows, it's not fun, so I am squashing any protests on that one. And I would never use Spirit Master as my workhorse healer either, because the abilities are too costly to maintain. I look at Spirit Master as more of a secondary class to supplement White Mage and make it even stronger. Very powerful, very resource-intensive skills that are meant to be used on occasion. Which leaves us with White Mage or Solvemaker for your workhorse into the endgame, meaning you have a total of 2 jobs that are meant to fulfill the main healer role. And if you've already spent 20-something hours prior to Solvemaker already getting White Mage leveled, you might not want to be starting from scratch on the Solvemaker and will just keep using White Mage because it's reliable and familiar. Plus, Solvemaker is a bit expensive to start up. So you stick White Mage on Anyes, and that's your healer for the whole game, all taken care of. BD2 uses the exact same jobs actually, but that game also does a few things to make you shift jobs more often. For one thing, the way these jobs do healing are all different from each other. Even though Solvemaker is pretty much the same general idea with consumable-based healing, the BD1 caster healers all use the same vein of white magic. But with BD2, each one has a unique method of healing. White Mage keeps the classic cure spells on hand, but Red Mage doesn't just copy-paste from White or Black Mage anymore. Instead, it still fulfills its role as a DPS and healing caster, but with unique spells. For damage, it has the Quake and Arrow sets, and for sustain, it gets the heal spells that always restore allies for fixed amounts of HP. And Spirit Master got a near-complete rework into this new turn cycle focused support that can give back HP, MP, and BP at the end of every few turns with their spirits. This alone already provides way more variety to choose from for keeping your team alive. As for my second point, say whatever you want about them, but something that I enjoy about the counters in that game is that they force you to try new things regularly. For example, the final boss of Chapter 2 counters white magic, but it doesn't counter red mage healing, a class that you unlock in that chapter. So by the way it's designed, you are encouraged to try out new jobs to tackle future issues. Now of course, there's a counter argument to be made that this steals player agency and forces you to only use certain things, but I don't really mind it myself. That said, it's not an invalid argument, as that's not everyone's cup of tea, so being forced to swap around jobs so often could get rather annoying for some people. And as a counter to the first point, White Mage is still very reliable, and you might just brute force your way through the game to use it, because it's nice and easy and you'll just play through the counters. And Bravely Second, well, they somehow went backwards on this. Because instead of White Mage being the first healer you get and giving you the advanced class later, they decided to give you arguably the best healer the series has ever seen in the prologue. Bishop's percentage-based healing is absolutely absurd, and borderline invalidates White Mage's existence in the game. Not fully, White Mage has a few other tools that are still useful, but in terms of purely keeping HP bars full, Bishop is always going to be the way to go, especially when combined with the Wizard, the most powerful job in the series thus far thanks to its spellcraft function, but that's a discussion for another day. So as you can see, White Mage has historically been a workhorse class that will carry you through the entire game the moment you get it, which is usually the very first boss fight. And the one time it wasn't the go-to was because they gave us something even stronger as our starting healer. And what's my problem with this? Well, two things. One, I think it's just kind of boring. In a game series that prides itself on customization, I would like to be more compelled to keep trying out new jobs all the time. It was one of the reasons I enjoyed BD2 so much. But even then, White Mage just cleared in that department for the entire game, and so I just had Gloria stuck in that outfit for 90% of my playtime. It discourages experimentation because why use something else when this is already good? It's the same problem with Godspeed Strike in BD2. It's a good outfit, don't get me wrong, but when everyone else around her is constantly changing, it's a bit bland. My other problem is that I'm not a fan of the best thing also being the easiest and most accessible. If something is this comfy and reliable for an entire 60 plus hours of game time, then surely it shouldn't be something you're using right off the bat. The way I look at it, you should get the better stuff for progressing through the game, not being handed the immediate perfect solution that is going to continue being the solution to your woes for the rest of time. If it's worth getting, then you should have to put in an equal amount of work that is reasonable for it. So what would I change? Well, it's fairly simple. You don't have to reduce the strength of White Mage at all, even. Hell, you could even give it a buff. But I don't want to see this class until the late game, 2/3 of the way in at the earliest. With damage classes and more specialized jobs, we already get better workhorse jobs as the game goes on. So why can't healers be the same way? Now, we still have DPS jobs that are also good right off the bat, but I feel there's a lot more variety and flavor in that field, which compels people to at least try different methods of damage in the first place. What I want to see in the future is a relatively weak and shitty healer class as our starter. Let's just call it the Medic. Then maybe around early mid-game we get Red Mage in either form, and then you can get Soft Maker and White Mage around the same time. Spirit Master, I don't know, it depends on what they do with it. If I were to give this Medic skills, there's a few ways to make it a weird but usable healer for the time being. You could make it the Regen class, make a series of regen spells just like Cure and Heal that give you back X% of your HP each turn. You know, Regen gives back 2%, Regena gives 5, and Regenaga gives 10 or something. Make a move that gives back more HP the more that target is missing, and vice versa. Hell, I'd even take randomized health restore, heal between 200 and 800 HP, and give multiple versions that have larger amounts and tighter ranges. Just make it usable enough to get you to the next healer class, bad enough that other classes seem appealing, but also offer it a high enough ceiling that people might look at it and say, you know, I think this could be more useful later on, but not right now. Or just make it bad altogether and make us have to use it until we get something better. What I'm ultimately looking for is just a different early game workhorse healing class so we can actually appreciate the climb of power with our healing, just as much as we appreciate it with DPS. But let me know what you think. Do you agree with this idea? Disagree? Do you have any changes or suggestions to this proposal? Let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to see people's thoughts on this topic. Octopath 2 review still in the works, but hopefully coming very soon. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.